this time of the year, we're looking at a purely transitional type of fishing. The water temperatures are dropping, the daytime amount of light is waning. We're not into a real consistent type of bite. We'll see fish doing different things now from what we're accustomed to seeing. One day you'll be able to catch fish on the smaller baits. You've got the little small bait, the long tail with the bead. Very typical ice fishing bait. Don't ignore this during this transitional period. These things can be hot, but you also have to be in tune with a little bit larger bait. You can step up in a jig to something of this nature even. This is a split paddle tail in a Kalin's, and that color is a Jim Dandy for your cold water fishing. That offers a little bit more of your action. It's a more aggressive bait, but you're going to be targeting more aggressive fish with that. And that's something that you need to consider when you get into this transitional water. Some fish will be not very active, others will be just hot. That goes for the hot fish. And of course, when you get into a bait like that, you want to use a little bit bigger jig head. These are 32nd ounce jigs, and they're designed more for that type of fishing. Very aggressive, very fruitful. They're excellent transitional water fishing type of lure. If you're a fan of the floats, these still mini stealths here are just really darn hard to beat. The benefit of these floats here is that when a fish hits, if the fish comes up and lifts that bait, this float will lay right over on its side, signal that hit. Very few of your floats will do that. The stick floats, to some extent, will. This is a more sure way of detecting your hits. Don't ignore the hair jigs. Hair jigs are just a phenomenon in transitional water. You can take a little piece of waxy and put on the hook. You can take a piece of an artificial or a scented bait like your gulp and put that just a wee bit on the end of that hook. Anything to give it a little bit of scent. If we really get into some neutral fish, then you've got your very conventional ice fishing jig. The shrimpos, these are a vertical type of jig, very aggressive on aggressive fish. If you want and need to use something that's a little flatter in the water for less aggressive fish, they have the Ratzos, if I can find one here. Maybe I can. The Ratzo is a horizontal jig. It has the same body as the Ratzo or the Shrimpo, but it lays different in the water. Fish are going to be at this time of the year, like I said, either hot or cold. And if they're cold fish, you need something that's a little more horizontal. Trigger hits. You can get into all kinds of sizes of baits. Plastics are a real school. Myself, I go after the larger fish, the more aggressive fish. I don't target fish on the bottom, I target fish in mid-water column depths. I don't target them with small baits. I always use at least a 2-inch bait. You've got your puddle jumpers, I feel are just marginally too big. It offers too much profile. If you come back here and you look at some of your other products, you've got your bloodworms. These are an excellent shape and size to trigger hits, and that will work with neutral fish as well as very aggressive fish. If you really want to turn them, these puppies right here are the cat's meow. This gulp product has just really turned the tide in how people fish and how they can fish. They come in a multitude of colors. The natural colors are great if the fish are just neutral, or if you've got kind of a fudgy dark day. You could get into your brighter colors on days when the sun is out and help light that up a little bit. Either or, they're a hot bait. You can even get into the blues. The blue is kind of a shoestring color. A lot of people don't use blue. A lot of people should use blue, but they don't. Blue is one of those colors it plays on watercolor itself. And while the fish probably do not see it as blue, it looks more like a natural fish than perhaps the chartreuse, where you just don't have anything in the water that is chartreuse. Your emerald, or the shiner, it's just a real standout color. This is probably my favorite of all of them. It most closely mimics any of the fish in the water that the others feed on. Minnow base, this is the color that gets the knot in that bait there. You can use a lot of different colors. The one that I want to show you that I guess this will suffice. This is glow. This has a chartreuse tail and a glow body. Don't ignore the glow. Glow is something that really is a hot one at times. If we get into a transitional period that extends itself for a long time, this bait, all of these will extend your fishing. You don't have to quit using these when you get ice. All of these will shift right into an ice period beautifully. They do a very excellent job of catching fish clear into the middle of the winter. Don't ignore any of these baits. Transitional fishing doesn't have to be a mystery. It doesn't have to be a challenge. All it takes is understanding. You have to go prepared. You have to have large bait. You have to have small bait in order to stay with the fish. When they tell you what they wanted, then you've got it.